And I'm gonna come over to my wedge. So if you have a wedge, just jump on it. I'll show you what to do. If you don't have a wedge, I'll show you how to modify in just a second here. I'm gonna come up onto my wedge, and I'm just gonna stand on my wedge in ankle dorsiflexion. So it's gonna put me in a bit of a stretch for my calves. Once I get there, I'm gonna have my object, my table, my desk, my piece of furniture, whatever, in front of me. And I'm actually gonna come down onto my elbows. I'm not gonna let my knees bend and my heels raise in the process. I'm gonna keep my knees straight. I'm just gonna bend at my hips. My chest is gonna come forward. And then I'm gonna find myself on my elbows here. Now for me, once I get here, if you look at my low back, if I round my low back, I actually feel less of a calf stretch. If I actually extend my low back and kind of draw my tailbone upwards, I feel more of a calf stretch. And I also drag in some hamstrings as well, and your hamstrings and your calves are intimately related. So for me, I still feel this in my calves, and you can play around with whatever feels best for you. So try the, okay, just standing straight up. How does it feel for a stretch here? If I come down onto my elbows, keeping my knees straight, how does it feel here? And if I go into lumbar extension, how does it feel there? And then the same thing goes and applies if you don't have a wedge. So if you don't have a wedge, you can just find anything at home. I'm gonna use an Air-X pad. You can use anything that you can place on the ground and get underneath the ball of your foot or underneath your forefoot. And you can play with how far forward or through the middle of the foot that you want the object. But get something underneath the front of your foot so your heels are a little bit lower, and then you're gonna try that same thing. So just see how it feels. Okay, if I'm just standing, this might not be enough depending on the height of whatever you have under your foot and how restricted you are in this area. And then you can go, okay, if I go forward, how does it feel here? And again, if I go into a lumbar extension, how does it feel there? So here I'm in a pretty nice stretch here as well. For me personally, I find I get more out of it when I have full foot contact on the ground. So because here my brain is missing information from part of my foot and part of my foot isn't connected with the ground, I find that I can't relax as well as I can when I have my full foot up on something. And so for me, I feel like I get a little better stretch when I have my wedge. So because I have one, I'm gonna use one. And like I said, you can just buy these on Amazon if this is something you ever wanna try. And then my feet are pointed straight ahead. You can also tinker with feet pointed a little further to the side, feet pointed a little further inwards. There's no right or wrong here. You can play with all of those variables, but you're gonna get into your stretch and we're gonna bank a little bit of time here.